Hello, everyone, and welcome to Google I/O 23. My name is Rachel Goodman-Moore, and I'm a product manager for Google Cloud. And today, it's my pleasure to be speaking with you about building no-code AI-powered apps for Google Workspace. In this session, I'm going to start by talking a little bit about AppSheet, Google's no-code app builder, what it is, how it works, and how it fits into Workspace as a platform. Then, we'll cover 3 new capabilities we're introducing and see a demo of these features in action. Finally, we'll wrap up the session with some resources on how to get you started building your first app. So let's jump in. Okay, first let's do a quick review of what AppSheet is and what it has to do with no-code development. Simply put, Google AppSheet enables anyone to rapidly build applications for Workspace without code. With AppSheet, builders can significantly shorten the development lifecycle. For simple apps, that can mean you can often go from raw data to completed production-ready applications in an hour or two instead of a week or two or a month or two. As a developer, AppSheet makes it easy for you to quickly create powerful, data-driven apps without coding. But with the flexibility to use our expansive expression engine, hundreds of pre-built functions, or even write your own from scratch. AppSheet's declarative app engine lets you reduce the development lifecycle for app creation, eliminate debugging code, and deploy apps quickly across desktop, mobile, and even Google Chat. And remember, it does all that without the need to write code unless you want to, so that a business process owner can often create their own apps without developer intervention, all giving you and your team back more time to spend on high-impact work. Okay, so here's a snapshot of what it looks like inside the actual AppSheet editor. This is what an app creator, you, your teammate, or anyone who wants to build an app on AppSheet would see when they log in. Instead of lines of code, what we're creating here is what's known as the app definition. Essentially, instructions for what the app should do, what data source it should run on, things app users should be able to do with the app, what the app should look like, and even any automations it should run. In the screen we're looking at here, that's actually exactly what we're doing. We're building an automation that triggers an app's script function when a user takes an action in the AppSheet app. But fundamentally, what's happening here is that we're using the visual editor to instruct the app that if X happens, do Y. And it's that paradigm that a creator uses this visual editor to tell AppSheet what to do without needing to write any code that is the foundation of everything that the tool does. And it's what makes it possible for AppSheet to provide solutions for both no-code users like myself, a product manager with a psychology degree, and pro-code and professional developers like you. We've covered a little bit about AppSheet. Now let's do a quick review of Google Workspace and how AppSheet fits into that picture. Now, many of you may already be familiar with Workspace, Google's product suite for collaboration and productivity, consisting of Gmail, Google Docs, Slides, Sheets, and more. But for me and the other 3 billion Workspace users, it's where I check my Gmail, send too many memes on chat, plan my workday on Calendar, and connect with my coworkers and customers and Meet. What you might not be familiar with is that Workspace also has capabilities that allow developers and end users to integrate, extend, and customize it, and those are collectively known as the Workspace platform. And that is where AppSheet fits in. AppSheet is the no-code development tool for tapping into the extensibility and power of the Google Workspace platform. You can use AppSheet to create custom apps, automations, and workflows that your team needs, essentially allowing you to expand the list of solutions available to your organization to cover pretty much any custom use case you want or need to run your business. The possibilities for precisely what you can create are practically endless. Inventory management, incident reporting, IT ticketing, approval flows, desk booking, onboarding apps, all possible with AppSheet. And you can see exactly that on this screen, some of the real-life popular apps and automations that we've seen developers build. Regardless of the use case, at its root, what AppSheet does is it allows you to quickly build a front end on a data source, a database. And those databases come in many shapes and sizes. AppSheet allows you to connect to a variety of data sources right out of the box. Once connected, each data source is represented as a table in the app definition and can reference one another. The data in each connected source can be controlled by user interactions with your app and with workflows. Okay, to summarize, AppSheet is the no-code development tool of choice for the Workspace platform. It allows you to extend Workspace to build apps that surface your insights from data and solve your team's real-life use cases. And because it's a no-code tool, it allows anyone on your team to build those same sorts of solutions, regardless of their technical know-how. Okay, now that we've covered the background on AppSheet and how it fits into the Workspace platform, let's jump into what's new. Over the past year, we've been hard at work adding more functionality to AppSheet, extending how it can maximize the power of Google Workspace and Google Cloud through integrations with tools like Gmail, Google Drive, and AppScript, even BigQuery and Looker Studio as well. But one thing we've continued to hear time and time again is how valuable it would be to have a data source purpose-built for app creation, something that is easy to provision and designed for a non-technical audience. So, to improve the experience for developers and users, we're excited to announce the general availability of AppSheet databases, a built-in data source for no-code and pro-code developers to easily and securely manage their data. Some of the benefits of AppSheet databases are, first, concurrency. AppSheet databases keep working smoothly even when there are many users making changes to a data source, and with quick sync, those changes can be available within just a few moments of the update. Next, built-in integrations, which streamline app building so more time can be spent customizing your solution. And AppSheet databases also offer structured columns and references so you can organize your data in a familiar interface. Okay, next up on the list of news to share. We're happy to announce that AppSheet-powered no-code chat apps are also now generally available to Workspace customers in AppSheet. First announced at Google Cloud Next 22 back in October, AppSheet chat apps let any Workspace user, regardless of their technical proficiency, effectively create chatbots, which we call chat apps, without ever needing to write a single line of code. Things like workflows, branched automations, approval processes, intake forms, tools for managing stand-ups, new lead notifications are, again, pretty much anything you could imagine. All possible with chat apps. Now, why is that no-code part especially important on chat? Well, Google Chat has long supported chat apps and bots created in tools like AppScript, Cloud Function, or even via custom HTML, and then configured in Google Cloud Platform or GCP. But the relatively high-code chat app creation process has meant that, so far, creating Google Chat-based apps and workflows was pretty much out of reach for folks that didn't have the time or resources to invest in that technical-heavy process. And that's why I'm super excited about AppSheet chat apps, because they let any new or existing AppSheet app be configured and published without code or any manipulation in GCP to run in their organization's internal Workspace chat account. And the best part of this process is that the entire thing takes 5 minutes or less. A few additional features of chat apps I want to share with you. First, they can help you notify your team with synchronous and asynchronous alerts, updates, and approval flows to help keep everyone in the loop. They let you update your data in real time, complete tasks, and get important intelligence for decision-making in context without ever needing to leave a conversation. Anyone on the team can build workflows and automations that everyone on the team can start using today. And my personal favorite, you can create chat apps in record time thanks to our new AppSheet Unique one-click publishing flow that lets you go from idea to live domain shared chat app, again, in minutes, not weeks. Any AppSheet app, from scratch, template, or otherwise, can be enabled to run on chat as a chat app. And if you're a Workspace customer, you can head into AppSheet, of course, after this video, to give them a try today. Okay, if you are looking for yet another reason to keep watching, we have one more very exciting announcement to share. Today, we are also announcing a new generative AI feature for AppSheet in private preview, adding yet another way to help you build and customize your applications using natural language. How does it work? Well, AppSheet will ask you for details about the features, processes, and other app elements you'd like to include in a solution, all while focusing on their desired outcomes. That dialogue format makes it possible for AppSheet to understand the app requirements from the conversation and leverage that data that the user has made available, then transform it into an app that can be shared on desktop, mobile, or, you guessed it, even a chat app. This marks a huge step towards truly making app creation accessible to any business or process owner, regardless of their technical know-how. And all they really need to start is a use case. One of the things that we're most excited about in this new generative AI feature is that it's going to help AppSheet users get started with a well-designed app that follows app development best practices and is ready for testing and customization in record time. And it's going to help users quickly prototype ideas and explore possibilities through natural language. Wherever users are in their app making process, from non-developers totally new to AppSheet to seasoned software engineers to anyone in between, AppSheet is there to help you refine the solutions you need and do it without code. All right, let's spend a few minutes walking through a demo of some of these features in action. Here's the scenario. Anne Gray is a manager at her company and receives travel requests via email, chat, and in meetings. It's getting a little hectic to keep track of, but she doesn't have the resources to get a solution custom built. Anne's team already uses AppSheet, and she's curious if the new generative AI feature can help put together a solution that streamlines the process for everyone. So let's give it a try. We'll start in Google Chat using the Gen AI-powered AppSheet Chat app. Here, AppSheet first prompts Anne to begin describing the solution she's looking to create. She enters a short description of what she needs, a solution to help manage travel requests and route approvals to managers. She also includes a little bit about the data she'll need to track as part of that process. And AppSheet responds, proposing a general app schema. From her initial prompt, AppSheet has recognized that Anne's app has an approval flow and asks her how the approval request notification should be sent. She has a variety of choices and selects email. From there, AppSheet proposes a few screens she may want to include: a form for users to submit new requests, a travel summary list, upcoming travel, and a few other views. These screens will form the backbone of Anne's app schema, or what her app is all about. She deselects My Travel to remove it from her app and then clicks Add. Now that AppSheet has put together the schema for Anne's travel request app, it confirms the tables that should be created in AppSheet database to power the screens or app views that Anne just selected. AppSheet creates 2 tables to support Anne's schema: travel and team. Because it can be hard to conceptualize, let alone validate, an app without any actual data in it, AppSheet gives Anne the option to include sample data in her app, and she says yes. Finally, AppSheet prompts Anne to give her app a name, which she calls Symbol Travel. And that's it. AppSheet now responds with a link to a fully functional preview of the app that was just created. Wow, okay. Before we go on, let's think about that for a second. Over the course of just a few dialogue exchanges, AppSheet has taken Anne's request, written in natural language, not expressions and schema, and recommended the screens that her app users will need to see, the things they'll need to do, and where that data should be stored to help her track travel requests. It's even set up the email notification to approvers. Pretty amazing. So from here, Anne can preview the app that was created for her or head into the AppSheet Editor to refine it further. She opts to preview the app. And we land on a fully functional emulator of what this app would look like in desktop view. While here, Anne clicks through each of the views AppSheet has created, starting with New Travel, Travel by User, and over to Upcoming Travel, which shows a map and list of upcoming trips, all populated with that sample data she opted to include earlier on. Looks good so far. But Anne realizes she's actually missing a view, so she heads into the AppSheet Editor to make a few more changes. Once she's there, Anne is going to add a screen that aggregates all her travel requests into a dashboard that gives the finance team an answer to a question she knows they're going to ask. How much are we actually spending on each person's travel? Okay, now that she's in the editor, she notices the AppSheet generative AI feature from before is still there. So she types out her request. And in seconds, AppSheet has parsed her request into the components needed to create this new view. It proposed a new calculated column to add to her team table and created a preview of what the chart with the aggregated data might look like. Now, Anne's a tinkerer like me, so before she accepts the change, she wants to take a peek at the chart preview. Okay, looks good, and she wants to look at the proposed new column in databases just to make sure everything looks okay there. She clicks the link to view the proposed change and is brought to the Approvals table in AppSheet database. There, she can see the proposed change. She quickly scans through the numbers, and satisfied that the new view and data change both match her expectations, she heads back to the AppSheet Editor. And there, she confirms that the changes should be applied to her app. All right, Anne's app is pretty great. She's got all the views she wants, and she's confident that the tables and columns AppSheet has created for her will support her needs. Since she's satisfied with how her app is working, she removes the sample data, deploys the app, and then shares it with her team. Now Anne's app is live. Users see this desktop view of the app and start submitting travel requests. A few weeks later, while scouring through her company intranet for a form, Anne has a thought. Since her team spends a lot of time in Google Chat, she decides to try out AppSheet's no-code chat apps feature so her team can just chat with Symbol Travel to get the form that they need. She heads back into the editor and then moves to enable Symbol Travel to run as a chat app in her domain internal spaces. This makes it possible for Anne's teammates to add Symbol Travel to Google Chat Spaces, groups, or private messages. Now, out of the box, Symbol Travel's chat app will show users a list of all available app views. But Anne is creating this chat version of her app specifically for end users, people who just want to submit travel requests. So, in the Configure section, Anne selects only the app views she wants her users to see, which means removing everything except the request form. From there, Anne also adds a quick welcome message so her users know what to do. From there, Anne adds a few additional actions to her chat app, or things the chat app can do. First, she sets up a / command. Anytime someone types /new trip, the chat app will pull up the trip request form. Up here, she also has the option to include, by default, a smart search command, which would allow Anne's teammates to use AppSheet's NLP pipeline to search her app for data or views, but she wants to keep things simple for now and just focus on travel requests. So she decides to remove the smart search command. Last thing, she sets up an automation to let users know whenever their travel approval status has changed. To do this, she selects the appropriate recipe, which then automatically builds out the scaffolding of the automation she'll need. From there, she gives her automation a name, configures a few details about when it should run, how any responses should be threaded, then heads back to the Chat App Builder to finish up. Thanks to AppSheet's no-code chat app deployment process, Anne doesn't need to do anything else to configure her app and the automations it contains to work in chat. With a single click, AppSheet has handled all of the GCP configuration pieces behind the scenes. Now, at this point, Anne could test her app by direct messaging it on chat, but we're going to move right to Anne sharing it for use with her teammates. Which she does. And there we go. The chat app is now live and available for her whole organization to install. Okay, now let's put ourselves in Jeffrey Clark's shoes. He's a team member who needs to get his travel approved for an upcoming trip to a customer's office. He's already added the Symbol Travel chat app, so he types that new trip / command to pull up the form. Jeffrey fills out the form with his upcoming trip data, then clicks Submit. On Anne's side, she can see Jeffrey's request come into the app almost instantly. The new request for approval triggers the email notification to Jeffrey's manager, Marcus, who sees a message with a travel request pop up in his inbox. Jeffrey's manager reviews the submission, then approves the request. Meanwhile, Jeffrey, who's been busy troubleshooting a bug, sees a chat notification pop up from Symbol Travel. It's a message saying his travel has been approved. Congrats, Jeffrey, and have a great trip. Wow, that was a whirlwind. So with that, we do need to wrap up today's session, but I want to leave you with some information on how to get started with AppSheet generally, as well as how to try any of the features we talked about here. On the screen, you'll see we have a number of great resources to help you go further with AppSheet. You can quickly spin up an app using templates, browse how-to videos, or join our vibrant and helpful community to help further your journey. Thank you again for attending today's session. I hope you enjoy the rest of the programming at Google I/O 23.